Let me follow up on that, because I've heard, particularly with respect to cyber, that almost any industry will look at somebody that has what they call skill adjacent capabilities. So if you're in retail and you've worked in a retail store, the retailer will teach you the technology that they need if you need to prevent hacking of customer data. How do they take those skills and marry them to, as you say, a particular certificate that makes them valuable to a particular industry?
Well, look, I mean, as we talked about higher ed needing to do a better job recognizing prior learning from the military, right? Employers, I think, need to do a better job in how they describe job descriptions in posted jobs, okay? Because
I was thinking that also.
Right, like they're actually not very articulate about what's required in the job. They'll say a bachelor's degree required in a lot of these job descriptions, or minimum of 5 years experience. But the point is, you see somebody that can do the job, if you can actually evaluate whether they can do the job, or do a better job evaluating adjacent skills that could get them there quicker. Employers are not very sophisticated in that manner, right? So that's...
They're becoming more sophisticated.
I will tell you,
they're on their way, but
that's exactly one of the things that we do at SHRM is when we address our HR professionals is one of the very first things you need to do in your organization is look in and sort of, if you will, right size your job descriptions. Really go back and analyze them. Does the job description really fit what that job does and what you need it to do? And then cut out that superfluous stuff.
So you want the essence of the job.
If you want the essence of the job, and if it really does not require a bachelor's degree, then say that. And recognize that, and then implement that in a very real way.
Or at least be open to it, as opposed to required. And it could still be recommended, but
then the skill, to your point, the skill adjacent piece, if your point, HR representative or the hiring manager is not trained, then a lot of times they don't see the adjacent angle. They don't understand, this is actually directly related. And a lot of this stuff is rubber meets the road, where it's somebody sitting at 7 o'clock at night looking through 15, 20, 30, 100 resumes trying to make a decision. And if we're not prepared at that point of attack, then folks are just going to go with whomever they are most familiar with, whatever skill or training they've had, et cetera.
Right. It's these companies that are attuned to these needs and have put that on their job descriptions are attuned to a lot of the other needs. But what is it, 80% of our veterans are hired by small to medium businesses? It's those that we have to help. It's not the Starbucks, the USAA, the Comcast, the NBC, because we've been there trying to work through this, Toyota, but it's small to medium businesses. We need to help them to translate their job descriptions to be much more military friendly and to welcome veterans, because one thing the studies have shown is that our veterans, if they look at a job description and don't meet 100% of because they're used to job skills in the military, if they don't read 100% of their prerequisites, they won't apply.
I think there's a trend that, particularly in tech hiring, that is really positive, is skills-based interviewing. And nobody who's serious about hiring in a tech environment is not putting some kind of problem in front of the candidate. If you're hiring an engineer, you can say you went out and did all these things, but you're going to be given a problem. And you have to solve that problem and submit that problem. That's a great opportunity, I think, for non-traditional backgrounds. And we're starting to see that more in other account management. Like if you're going to you have to do an Excel problem to prove that you can do something. And I think there's an interesting balancing, a calibrating to say, hey, let me take the test.
The focus of our organization is really on the employer and preparing them to do it. I know with your WorkingNation, the group putting all this on, does this I Want That Job series. Well, one of our major supporters, Pike Electric, has just done a 2-minute clip highlighting one of their careers. It's in power maintenance or power techs. And they're making what you would imagine a power tech makes, like 20, 30,000 a year, 70,000 a year. And the requirements to get into that job, it's not the master's degree, it's a high school diploma and some on-the-job training, potentially some technical training. So that kind of awareness is exactly the kind of awareness that our service members need coming out so that they can choose the right career.